Today, we're going to be combining a lot of different art materials to make an exciting, out of this world, outer space landscape. Let's begin.
You will need white paper, black paper, pencil, white colored pencil, scissors, black oil pastel or crayon, a glue stick, watercolor paint, white acrylic or tempera paint, and a paintbrush. Creating the background. Start with your piece of black paper and a small amount of acrylic or tempera paint. That's a small amount. I'm going to use the splatter technique. I'm adding a little bit of water to the paint to make it kind of runny in consistency. And there's two ways to do this. You can pull back the bristles or you can tap your paintbrush. Here I'm tapping the paintbrush, but when I pull back the bristles, I'm getting a finer mist, and I think that looks good for the sky. Oh, well, if you get a big splatter, don't worry about it. You can hide a planet on top of it later. Put your paper somewhere safe to dry. Making painted paper. Now I'm using my sheet of white paper and I'm dividing the paper not quite in half. On the smaller section of paper, I'm going to paint a combination of neutral colors. I'm thinking about space rocks. Part of my picture will be the rocks on another planet, and I added a splash of purple because I don't really know what color space rocks are, but I thought purple would go good with the neutral colors. Fill the whole section of paper with color. Now I'm using a paper towel to dab my paint because I need the paper to dry quickly. On the other side of the paper, this is the bigger section, I'm painting a combination of all the colors in my paint set, bright rainbow colors. And I'm kind of applying them in stripes. This painted paper that we're creating right now is going to be used for the planets, and it's going to be used for space rocks. Now notice that by applying a second layer of paint, my colors are getting even brighter. Fill the entire paper with color. And now I'm dabbing the paint with a paper towel so that it will dry quickly. Put your paper somewhere safe to dry. Making planets and space rocks. I start by finding circles to trace. If you have a circle template, that's great too. Now on the side that has the bright rainbow colors, I'm tracing circles. These circles are going to be the planets in my space art landscape. And I'm tracing circles that are different sizes. I want some small ones, I want some large ones. Having a variety of planet sizes in your space art landscape will add interest to the composition. Make sure you trace circles all different sizes. These circles will become the planets. How many circles did I trace? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm putting the circles away. Now you will need your scissors, cutting out the circles. Now it can be tricky cutting out the circles. You want to get as close to the pencil line as you can, and it might be easier to remove the paper before you continue to cut the circle. This is a lot of cutting. If you need to stop for a minute and stretch your fingers, it's fine. Notice that I'm saving my scrap papers because I might need them later. Okay, so how many circles did I cut? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many circles did you cut out? Now on my other sheet of paper, with the neutral colors, I'm cutting out rock shapes. These are rocks that you might find on another planet. So the shapes are made up, and these are what you would call organic shapes. Organic shapes are the shapes that don't have names but make you think of things like cloud shapes. Imagine what might space rocks look like on another planet. Have fun cutting interesting organic shapes. Shading circles. Get your black oil pastel. Now notice I'm shading one side of every circle. That's going to make the planets look 3D. And I'm shading kind of a crescent moon shape, always on the left side. Add shading on only one side of your circle. Blending. Get your black oil pastel Now, using a paper towel or your finger, you're just rubbing where you applied the oil pastel, and this is blending the oil pastel with the paper, which gives you a nice transition of values from dark to medium to light. Drawing lines in the rock shapes. I'm drawing jagged lines inside of the rock shapes, and I'm doing a tiny bit of shading. This is going to make the space rocks look a little more interesting, like there's crevices and they're cracking rocks. Adding jagged lines to your space rocks will make your composition look more interesting. Add jagged lines on all of your space rocks. Do a little bit of blending and shading. Okay, now I have 3 piles: my scraps, my planets, and my space rocks. Putting it all together. Get your black piece of paper, the one that you splattered on. It should be dry now. Yes, it's dry. Get your planets, your space rocks, and don't lose your scraps. Keep them within reach just in case you need them. Don't forget a glue stick. Now I'm arranging my planets on the top part of the paper, and I want to make sure that all the shadows are on the same side. Imagine the sun shining on the planets on the right side, and all your shadows are on the left side. Shadows on the same side. This is going to help your picture look 3D. Now, I'm gluing the planets, and notice some planets are on top of planets because they're the moon of the planet. And don't forget to save room for the space rocks. They go on the bottom half of the paper. It looks like my space rocks are a little bit tall, so I'm cutting them down to make them smaller. Imagine standing on a planet looking up at space. Glue your space rocks to the bottom of the paper. And I'm overlapping my space rocks. Most of them are in neutral colors, but I have some that are in bright colors. Drawing shooting stars and twinkling stars. With a flick of your wrist, draw a diagonal line. This will look like a shooting star. And draw some in different directions, here and there, wherever you think you need a shooting star. Now, by drawing an asterisk, you'll have a twinkling star. You can add a few twinkling stars anywhere you feel like you need twinkling stars. Adding space colonies in domed cities. This is optional, but I thought it might be fun to add a few space colonies. I have a little bit of acrylic paint left over. It will work well with white tempera paint as well. I'm using my white colored pencil and I'm tracing something round, just part of the circle. Now with a little piece of cardboard, I'm dipping the corrugated edge into the white paint and stamping vertical lines. This kind of looks like a city far away. And now I'm stamping a few horizontal lines. I think maybe one more space colony would be good. You can decide if you want to add space colonies. I'm tracing part of a circle, that's the dome, and stamping with a piece of cardboard. Those are the city buildings. Outer space landscape.
I had so much fun creating outer space landscapes with you today. I can't wait to see the outer space landscapes that you created. Bye for now.
How to animate your space art. I'm using the Motion Leap app by Lightricks. I move my space art into my photo gallery, and from there I select it. I'm going to add a few elements into the scene. There's a galaxy and an alien. I can resize the alien, and I'm going to put a planet Earth on top of one of the planets, spinning. Now I'm adding effects over the image, and there are a lot of effects to choose from. And I'm going to use a nighttime filter on the scene. I'm adding a little bit of orange space dust and some movement to the image. The next thing you do is download it and save it to your images. Motion Leap by Lightricks brings artwork to life.